Okay, actually, serial, like, wait, start already?
No.
Oh, I thought starting already.
No.
Wait.
Hi guys and welcome to the Undefined talk show. My name is Marcus and I'll be your host for today. This talk show is sponsored by IB Lounge, which is a specialized IB tuition service here in Singapore. The aim of IB Lounge is to inspire the students, and likewise for the Undefined talk show, we also aim to inspire our viewers by sharing the stories of our guests who have actually attained success despite going through unconventional routes. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy the talk show. So let's welcome our first guest, which is actually Yixun.
Yes, hi.
Who is actually a friend of mine. And we have known each other since like
Primary school tuition, yeah.
Yixun and I actually lost contact for quite a while. And I was quite surprised by what he has become, because last time he's completely different, right? He's not like this at all. And I thought we could learn from his story and his journey that he has taken to overcome the adversities and the kind of things that he has gone through. So maybe you can tell our viewers like what you do and who you are.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Yixun and I'm currently now in NUS entering year 3 business. More like a part-time studying undergrad, sure. Right? But more full-time financial services profession, right? Consultant. Currently now I'm an associate director with Advisors Alliance Group. And I juggle between work and school at the same time. Yeah.
So tell me more about your profession. Like what do you actually do?
Okay, so in financial services profession, the dynamics of a financial services profession changed quite significantly from a insurance salesperson, right, more on towards a advisor kind of role. As a financial advisor, you are expected to be able to give advice on multiple different things, right? Just not just on insurance, right? Ranging from things like investment planning all the way to risk planning, estate planning how can you give a business from a grandfather to the father to the son, right? And so on and so forth. Or even things like will writing, or you want to set up a charity, a foundation in your name to perpetuate your legacy for the next 100 over years, like maybe Li Ka-shing or all these other great names. A financial advisor is supposed to be able to give a more holistic macro view planning on the client's entire portfolio, right? So that's the core job, core role, responsibility of a financial consultant. Right, and then as a director, your roles splits, right? Yes, you still have to manage your client side, right, where you continue doing the advisory role, but at the same time, you need to be responsible for the people that is under your care, right? And involving coaching, right, doing recruitment, training, and the training aspect is much more challenging as compared to the advisory side, so it's a relatively steep learning curve, right? So why I say it has changed quite significantly is because in the past, the role of an advisor is just to push products and to sell, right? And now as consumers get more and more competent, right, with things like Seedly or even things like Work Salaryman, right, advisors also have to step up their game, right, and no longer just be so fluffy, right? And so that's why the entire barrier to entry just kind of increases as it goes.
And how do you get into this industry?
Funny story. Actually, I don't even know if you know. Actually, the first person who contacted me, right, on how I even got in touch with this industry, right, also is my cousin. He was my director back then in 2018. So back then in June, I was still in army. So June 2018, I was going to ORD in November. And he texted me one day asking me, hey, you free Friday night or not? And I was like, for what? He said, we're having a career talk, right? Just to share some perspectives on the financial services profession. Would you like to come down? At first, I was not very interested. I mean, honestly speaking, back then in 2018, okay, I think now in 2020, there are more people joining in, right, coming into this industry. So not as path less traveled anymore, right? But back then, it was like, this industry is like, you normally, you got no other options, then you decide to venture in this path, right? But he baited me down with Golden Village tickets. True story, okay? Gold class Golden Village tickets, which expired. I didn't even get to use it after 1 year, right?
It's expired?
No, he gave it to me, but I didn't use it for 1 entire year, yeah. I mean, back then I was in army, I was thinking, okay, there was no opportunity cost, right? And back then, I was also supposed to study in RAP, right? And I guess I just, no harm just come down and listen, right? Hear more perspectives. So when I first came down to listen to some of the talks, right, by some of the seniors and directors, my perspective was, I recognized that there were some things that I could learn, right, regardless whether or not I come into this industry or not. Anyway, back then I was underage. I I was 20 years old. So to get a license, you need to be 21 years old. So back then in 2008, I was 20 years old. But yeah, there were some skills in FA that you can pick up and apply, elsewhere. Okay, skills like time management, skills like public speaking, skills like leadership, or even the financial literacy itself, right? And I think most importantly, the skill to influence and the skill to sell yourself, right? I think that's something that some people might see as manipulative, right? But I feel that the fine line between being manipulative and being actually using it for good, right? Actually, it's your own personal values, right? Your own intention, right? If you have decent values and you're not here to harm others and walk over them, right? If you have the skill to influence, per se, right? It actually can be quite powerful. You can create a lot of change, right, in the world. So these are some of the factors, and I saw that since no opportunity cost, why not just come in and learn, right? Anyway, I was underage, couldn't get a license, couldn't earn money also.
Nice. Yeah. So how was it like? I'm sure when you were underage and that kind of thing, when you decide to enter into this industry, it might be quite daunting, right? Because literally, probably everyone is older than you, or at least 90% is older than you. Right. So how do you feel when you look up to them and you are still at ground zero and you can't even get your license, right? Remember you told me. So how did it feel when that happened?
Yeah, so you're right. When I first came into my company, I was the youngest. I don't think there was another 20-year-old back then. But nowadays there's multiple 20 years old until it's like a norm. My company ranges from we have the young, back then there were some student advisors, some, right, all the way to our founder who is 66 years old this year, right, and he's still working, right? So whole range of different experiences. I wouldn't say it's too daunting. I'm quite grateful that the environment that I was sort of placed in, the environment was very supportive. No one shunned away from sharing, or giving me mentorship, despite the fact that they were from different. We work in different teams, right? And even though they might be from different teams, no one really shunned away, and in fact they sort of encouraged me to keep making use of them per se, making use of their time, making use of asking them questions. And so I was quite fortunate to have this type of environment. Now speaking about, so that's more of the learning part right? Now speaking about when I first went to look for clients and all this, daunting. I think definitely at the start, one of the biggest concerns was how people view me as a person, right? And later people judge me, or people stigmatize me, this sort of thing. I can't lie that was one of the first few concerns, right? But again, I think it got better after actually doing it and realizing that there's not really that much stigma. I think if you face stigma, right, honestly, it's the person, you've just been a bad friend over the past 20 years. So I guess perception was, yes, it will be very daunting. Because when I first came in, or any advisor who starts off this journey, it will be the toughest part because they don't know what they don't know, and they have no clientele. So this is the toughest part in any business, right? Not just FA. When you have no clients, right? I'm quite sure when you guys did your own business, so when you guys started out with them. So so I think perception was daunting, but actually when actually doing it, you really realize a lot of the fears is self-created. Right? It's actually not really there. But if really there's an obstacle, I'm quite grateful that I can go to my mentors and ask for help. And they will support me from there.
So what made you kind of if you have these doubts about yourself and about how people see you, right? So what made you overcome this? Because I'm sure people who want to start something new, they also have such doubts, maybe they want to maybe start their own cafe, maybe they scared people say that you're crazy or something like that. How do you overcome that? Or what made you yourself overcome that?
What made me overcome? Okay, so I guess for myself, so when I first began, we really did a lot of goal setting, right? So a lot of priority management. One of the main goals that I'm trying to hit, right? The main one, right? At least in the immediate view, right? Is of course financial freedom, right? Now I'm not saying chasing money is good, right? Don't chase money, right? But I'm also saying that money is not good or bad, right? Money is just a number, right? Money has no emotions. Whether money is good or bad is up to us, how we use it. So chasing financial freedom, right, or wanting to get there fast enough, I guess the desire of that overpowered the fears of what if this, what if this? I mean, what if never happened, right? I mean, we all like to always ask, oh, what if I go out and then I get shot by lightning? Yeah, but what if you go out and you don't get shot by lightning, you know? So, the flip side can be true, you know, and but unfortunately, we'll never know until we open the door and actually go through that door. Whether it's a failure or a success, right? I mean, of course, hopefully it's a success, right? If it's a failure, I feel that we should have the logical thought process of think back, okay, why, so what happened wrong, right? Which part of the process failed, right? And technically speaking, a failure is only useless if you don't actually use that failure to push you forward. But if failures like show you where you lack, right? Maybe you start a cafe and the cafe, like you realize you can't attract customers or what, but then you don't even bother to find out why, you know, or something. And I mean, that's a problem, man. Yeah, you should have just thought a bit further, I guess. Yeah. So again, the second thing I guess is more of realistic or not, right? So some people might say, yeah, this is crazy and everything, because maybe sometimes it really might be a bit crazy, right? Like you say, oh, I want to build a space company in 1 year's time. Okay, a bit crazy, you know, if you have no funding, right? Not saying it's not possible, but okay, come on, right? A bit impossible. So I guess for me, what made it easier was that knowing that doing my line in financial planning was a very, very logical, right, and realistic thinking process. Every single individual in Singapore, 99% of us, we need financial planning, right? Even myself, a financial planner, needs financial planning. So if only 1% of the people wants to actually join this career, so why not I be the 1% to, you know, help service the other 99%, right? It's more logical to me. And as my friends progress, you know, when they get their full-time income, when they graduate, right, they have houses, they have loans to take care of, they have parents to take care of, they have children to take care of, all these things that are liabilities, right, or responsibilities, there's risk, right, and the risk has to be hedged off. Okay, so they definitely have to do insurance, right, or even nearing to the 40s or 50s, they have to do it. So it's an entire life cycle, right, of planning that I can sort of walk with my friend along this entire journey. And I guess it was very logical to me, and that's why it made the fears not as big as I thought it would be.
So I guess there's two advices. One is to be in the right mindset, and number two is to have like a goal. Like for you, your goal is the financial freedom.
In a sense, being very clear of our goal. So whether people say it's realistic or not, right? I think we should be the judge on whether it's realistic or not, right? Looking at I mean, if you do the math and the numbers in your head, and if it checks out, then just go and do it, I mean, don't care what people say,
Right. Yeah, so don't care what people say is another.
I mean, definitely, because the person who's saying these sort of things usually, right, they are different from you, right? They have come from different backgrounds, different parents raised them, right? Different childhood experiences, different likes and dislikes. So how can this person who is absolutely different from you say that you can't do it? Like, that doesn't make sense at all, right? So just don't care. I mean, you can accept opinions, right? But I think it will not constitute as advice. Okay, but versus if today, the person who, you know, you say, oh, I want to start a cafe, and this guy is like he owns multiple cafes, all very successful, right? And then you run through your business model with him, and you run through your business plan, and then he or she says, a bit hard, you know, here and there. Okay, maybe that is advice, you know, like it is advice really, versus some random guy in school who said, hey, crazy, now that will be opinion, right? Like YouTube comments, right? Everyone can be trolling in the comments.
For sure. Okay, nice. So how did you get your first client, or your first like income coming in? Like how did you get there, and what did you feel like?
Well, what do you feel like? How did I get there? Okay, so how did I get there? In financial advisory, we have an entire process, right? We have to bring our clients through. Right, some of my friends ask me, hey, what plan to buy? I say, bro, I have no idea, right? It depends on what you need, right? It depends on whether you can even do any planning, right? Do you even need to do any planning, right? So there's a whole process. So normally what I have to do is, we're asking about first time I make my first income. So I got my license in July 2019, right? After 1 year of 调整 like that, right? If you play mahjong, So July 2019 I got my license. But back then I was still in camp. The camp as in all the uni camps, the business camp and all the old week, you know, stuff. So I started to only work, right? September.
After the camps.
After the camps. Right, late August to September. So, but before I started to, I see it as a business, right? FA or financial planning to me is a business. It's not a sales role, right? Imagine today, right? If a cafe is going to open in September, I'm quite sure you like do prep work before that, right? So that's why I will have to do a lot of prep work. I can go out to start, it's like maybe you're opening a bakery, maybe you can, bake some test samples, ask your friend, hey, how does this taste like, right? If your friend all give you bad remarks, right? Maybe you shouldn't be a baker, maybe, right? Assuming again, the sample size is large enough. So yeah, before September, I went on a massive, like the past 4 or 5 months prior to September. Yeah, it was a massive outreach, right? Reaching out to my friends, right? Asking them if they can give me a chance to share with them what I've learned so far, right? With absolutely no obligation, right, to do anything. Just the concepts behind. Anyway, I couldn't share products because back then I had no license, so I couldn't talk about products. It was just about the concept of risk planning, the concept of investing early, compound interest, right? The concepts of how does CPF work, right? And at the same time, some of them who saw value in what I shared, asked me to talk to their parents as well, right? Helping them consolidate their different insurance policies from all over the world, right? And put into one summary or look through their CPF with the parents. So at the end of the day, while meeting a lot of these families, build a bit of relationship with them. Yeah, so leading up, right? And I think that, okay, I'm not gonna say I'm a very likable person or what, right? But some of these people that I met, they were quite nice where they gave me the chance. They said, okay fine right, when you get a license, come and find me. Right. So I kept stocking up on all these pre-orders if I may. Pre-order in a sense, collecting pre-orders for your bakery. Right. So I just collected a lot until August, September started. And then I chiong.
I think this is quite an important lesson because I think a lot of people, they think that because of whatever circumstance they are facing, then they cannot do anything to prepare or to enter a certain industry. But actually, like you mentioned, although you can't get your license, but you can still spend a lot of time building these relationships, such that when the time comes, you can quickly execute on that.
Okay, I guess for myself also, because back then I couldn't earn an income, so I still had to spend money on food and transport, so I had to give tuition at the side. So every week over the weekends I'll give tuition, like secondary school or JC tuition. But in the weekdays, then going to work.
So what happened after you got your first few customers? Like, was it like the momentum kept increasing? Is it more like it go up then stop or something?
Yeah. So fortunately in this industry, I'm not sure about other industries, right? But at least for my industry, it gets easier as it goes, right? It's a compounding kind of effect. Now, why is that the case? Because if today I have one client, right, and that one client only, maybe refers or recommends, one more friend to become a client, that's only one extra client. But if today I have 300 clients and every single one of them asks, one of their friends to, hey, check him out, right? Hey, go and talk to him. That's 300 more people to meet. And 300 more people to meet is no time to meet already, right? For the whole year, one a day already. Right? So it gets easier as it goes, especially the fact that the knowledge, at least the foundation, right? Once you learn it, you can't forget how to plan for someone. Yes, you have to keep upgrading yourself and to keep yourself up to date, right, on the latest current affairs and interest rate changes and all this, but the foundation won't change. So it gets way easier, right, after you have established a decent clientele base, right, and if you service them well, right, there really is no reason for them to whenever they are talking to their friends, when they go out with their friends and their friends talk about investments or talk about anything, right, the first person that will they think of the advisor. If they won't think of the advisor, then I think the advisor is doing a bad job or not the best. Okay, can be better, right? Not say a bad job, can be better. So it gets easier as it goes.
So is there any point where you reached a certain point where you said that, or where you thought that, okay, I've made it and this is it? Did you ever feel that?
Wow, wonderful question actually. Because for myself, back then in 2019, so previously before in 2019, I came in 2018. So there were a few student advisors in my company, right? This guy called Wilfred, right? Wilfred Wong. He's Asia's Financial Advisor of the Year in 2022, I think last year. Then this guy called Sing Hong, who was in SMU, right? So they were older than me. Back then they were 24, 25. I was 20. So they kind of broke the entire paradigm of financial planning because so there's this thing called $1 Million Roundtable, right? MDRT. MDRT just simply recognizes the top 6% of advisors, in the whole world, based on income or based on premiums collected or whatever. So they kind of broke the entire paradigm because they were full-time studying, right? Wilfred was in NTU Maritime Studies, Sing Hong was in SMU Business, right? While full-time studying in their final year, right? They managed to accomplish this entire $1 Million Roundtable, right? Achieve an international achievement. So it really inspired me a lot, right? In 2019, when I went to do it for myself, and then in 2020, I did Call of the Table, which is $3 million roundtables in 1 year. It's easy to say, wow, actually I'm still studying, yeah. So like, why I have to work so hard?
Right.
Yeah, why not just like pangkang? Honestly, if I stop working like for the next 5-6 years, right, but I continue to just keep in touch with my clients, right, and service them once a year, right, the passive income actually should still be quite significant one, right? But again, I would say I can't lie that there were some times where the thought did cross my mind, right? I think, but which is why I think it's very important to have this sort of self-awareness check system.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit like a GPS or like a missile guidance system where it will auto-correct back into the intended path. Yeah, so whenever got such thoughts appearing, right, I know, cannot, right? I cannot let it fester, because once you let this thought fester, right, it's going to multiply in your brain like weeds, right? It's just going to grow and grow. So I had to immediately eradicate it out, right? Speak to my mentors, ask them for, hey, how do you speak to my founder? My founder is 66-year-old, right? How does he stay motivated for 40 over years, right? This guy, so quite fortunately, right? Okay, so I guess I was taught from the very, very early start, right? Do not really chase material things out, yes, right? But go for a purpose, right? Go for a purpose, because the purpose is something that you can't really say accomplish it fully, I feel, right? A purpose with infinite sort of end goal, chasing infinity. I'm not saying chasing infinity money or what, but chasing infinity in terms of, okay, for example, right? If your goal today is to be a better person,
right?
Okay, technically speaking, you can't ever stop working at it,
right?
Unless you say you're perfect. If you're not perfect, you have to keep working at this goal, right? Or something like, right? So in our company, right, we follow our ex-minister mentor, Lee Kuan Yew. He said this during the PAP's 50th anniversary, right? To be successful in the profession or in business, right? To become wealthy, cannot be compared to making the lives of your fellow men better, right? This can bring immense satisfaction. So this quote, we hold it very dear to our heart, right? And we see financial planning as, okay, I cannot really stop, right? Why? What if one day, and actually this actually happened, yeah, which is, if I just take a break, what if that one day I meet this friend, and turns out I was just 1-2 days late or 1-2 weeks late from the illness catching my friend.
I see.
Yeah, and it has happened before. And I'm talking about not like your 40, 50-year-old, I'm talking about our 20-plus-year-old friends, right? So I don't know whether I'll be able to live with myself, or like it's like just thinking, what if I just talk to you like 1 month earlier, maybe I can pay you out 150k, to take care of our parents and everything, take care of our treatment, right? But just because of my own self-complacency, right? And then I don't go reach out to you. I just think you made it. So it's a bit like, it's like very wasted. It's like today you are given a license like as a doctor or a dentist, right? But you just sit in your clinic and like, okay like Kelka, like Tobo. Okay at times we do take breaks and all, but we realize that actually we cannot really stop until the entire Singapore is honestly well protected. And right now you look at rising healthcare costs and all this, there's no way we are near that goal. So cannot take break, must keep working.
So it's like by having this higher purpose, you force yourself to keep you on your toes, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, that's one right? But I think the second thing also is, so going back to just now the point about having a desire to still build something.
Right.
Yeah, because if today, right, an advisor comes in this career and they want to help people, okay, that's a must-have, right? They cannot come in wanting to manipulate and mess people up. So the second thing is that the desire to still build a dream has to be true, because there are some advisors who come in, right, saying they want to just help people, which is good, right? You must have that core value, right? Integrity and compassion. However, right, if they are only here to just help people, right, but they don't actually want to build something for themselves, they might find themselves in a very tough spot, because you technically can just join charity to help people. You don't have to come into FA, right? Or you don't have to be an FA, right? You can just maybe find an FA that is, you really trust yourself, and then just, ask your friends to go and meet that person, right? You don't actually have to be in that role, right? Fine, maybe you say, but I want to be the one in control and everything. Okay, can. But the reason why I say you find yourself in a very tough spot is because a lot of these people, right, they are giving up something else, right? By being in this sort of self-employed business owner kind of responsibility, right, a role, they are not in an employed role where they are getting a fixed paycheck. And that is the one that stability, because coming into our career, yes, income does fluctuate, right? But that doesn't mean it's unstable, right? If it fluctuates from like 10k to 20k, right, every month, I think that's still quite not bad, right? But it fluctuates, right, as compared to a fixed paycheck, right? And it's very different. So if the person, right, doesn't have that desire to come and build something, for themselves, it doesn't really justify moving into something that is more unstable. It's a bit like investing, right? If your account is giving you 4%, right, why will you go and take it out and do a guaranteed 4%, let's say special account, right, in your CPF? Why will you take your SA 4% guaranteed to go and invest into something that's non-guaranteed 3%. Like,
doesn't
doesn't make sense. Let's leave it inside at 4% guaranteed, right? Guaranteed. So that's the thing, right? And that if the desire is not big enough or not soon enough, right? Some people, okay, they want to be financially free, but they want to maybe reach it only at 60, right? And no right or wrong, right? I'm just saying different people got different goals. But if that's the case, actually you might be able to achieve it in a secure, more stable kind of role where you don't have to think so much, right? Okay, I'm not saying employees don't think, right? I'm just saying that usually, right, you just do what is given to you, right? That's, your manager gives to you, unless you are a higher role or what, right? But in our line, you're your own boss, so it's a very different kind of dynamic where you have to go and face rejections. If I work, right, maybe not as much, right, or the emotions. It's different challenges, lah, right? But I think they must be able to justify in my role, right? So keeping myself on my toes, right? There's these two factors, lah. One is you still must have a dream for yourself, right? And the second one is you must still like and help people, right? If you don't have that, then
Seems like a lot of internal motivation, right? Like compared to like external.
It has to have lah, because again in this industry, right, we are all self-employed, so we have no real boss, right? You are your own boss, right? Technically speaking, all my mentors that I mentioned previously, they don't really earn anything from me, right? Like they are just different directors from different teams, right? So they will come and help, once in a while. But at the end of the day, they have to run their own shop. No one is gonna, right, come and kick you. And I mean, yes, we can come and help out, but at the end of the day, the advisor is responsible for his or her own success and destiny in this career. So highly dependent on internal motivation.
Okay. The next question I have is like usually after you attain some success, for some reason, right, a law of nature is like you will suddenly attain like some like downfall-ish thing. Or maybe it could be internal or external. And have you faced this kind of thing?
Yes. I wouldn't say an extreme downfall. I guess it's more of like a transition.
Right.
So to give an example, before I promoted as a director, associate director, right, back in January earlier this year. So from 2019 to 2020, normally my personal records in terms of sales records, right, they were always very consistent, right, and perpetually not bad, right. But once I transited to a associate director role, suddenly it dipped quite a significant bit. So but again, not really. I would say it's really a downfall because it was more of a transition where I had to create systems and I was spending more time on on associates and doing more agency level coaching and all this. So there was a trade-off, right, and to me, I feel that it's okay to ever face a down, right? I see it like in stocks or what, where you invest, right? Stocks don't just go up vertically, right? Stocks go up in an up and down, right? Periodical movement. So as long as the intrinsic value is going upwards, I think that's the most important. If each down is higher than the previous down, I think that's more important. And are we able to sort of mature into this game and age well, right? Because it's not about just who can run the fastest it's not a sprint, right? This entire journey in my business is like a marathon, right? Who can outlast like yourself actually. So it's okay, I think, to ever face downs, right? As long as we can, again, now the self-check mechanism, right? Are we aware there's a down, and then if that's the case, what are we going to do about it, right? Are we gonna just sit there and emo, right, hide in your bed and cry and sulk? Right, but cannot lah, because why got clients to look right, to make proud of, got other people that you are accountable to, right, all these things. So end up that down is I guess treating it more like a phase of consolidation, right, a phase of reflection, a phase of maybe just checking on your business model that maybe you have to change your business model again, right, and you have to revamp the entire thing, and you can't just keep doing the same thing again and again and again, hoping for different results. Especially when the people around you are learning your business as well. So in this down is normal to face, right? But I think it's important to bounce back up, right? Some people, the down, right? So there's three kinds of downs, right? There's the U shape, right? Then got the L shape, got a V shape, right? Of course, what we're hoping for is to achieve that V shape, right? A recovery, right? Those people who can get the V shape recovery, usually they already know that they're on the down before they hit the bottom, the lowest bottom point. Right, then the L shape, that one don't need to say. Right? That one is they go down, they don't even know they're down, right? Then they just continue that way, right? They're in their own world, right? In denial. Right? U shape is the L people, but after that, at the end, right, hopefully they get some revelation from, could be someone else or maybe themselves, something happened in their life. But what we all aim for is the V shape, V shape recovery.
Right. And you constantly talk about this self-check. So Are there any like habits or what do you do to get yourself into this self-check thing?
Self-check. Wow, self-check. I guess it's something that I was doing lah, even since I was young.
Right.
Yeah. There's not really an actual habit that I go and perform to. Okay, like I know some people do things like meditation, right?
Yeah.
Or like therapy. I think therapy is great also, right? But myself, I've not tried. I tried meditation, but I want to be honest, it's really very hard to make it a continuous habit. I'm still working and making it. I know it's good lah, right? But I'm just trying to get it there. But I guess if you are constantly focused on your goal, right? If that goal is really something that you really, really want to achieve, okay, I believe motivation is fake one lah. Okay, honestly speaking, like what external, internal motivation, that sort of thing. If the goal is really so real, right, then you don't need motivation. It's like it's like today if I put a gun at your head, right, you confirm don't need to think and don't need to be motivated. You will confirm go and do one, right? So I think motivation is self-created one lah, right? And I think this self-check thing is just also a measure of how clearly defined and how clear can we visualize our own goals, right? The more clear we are of our goals and really that's really what I want, then I think that self-check will come on. It's like very natural one. It's like when you never brush your teeth, then you just know, it's like, or like when you're hungry, it's like I guess I can't really say what I do to know that I never brush my teeth or what I never never eat, right? You just feel that hunger pang. Yeah, same thing lor. When you know hey shit man, you have been right doing things that are taking you off track from your goals, right? Time to get back on track. There's this sort of voice in your head that will say. But I think to have that, you have a very clear goal.
And do you think like for your industry or for yourself even, like do you think that it should be always a constant state of improvement, or is there a period where you think that okay, like I'm done, I don't need to do anything? I mean, I guess up to the advisor lah. It's really what the person wants also, right? I mean, I'm not here to say that whoever comes to this industry must stay for the rest of their life, right? I mean, of course, that will be a good thing, right, for the clients as well, right? As in, normally when people do leave halfway, right, is their clients will be passed on to the director, right? The director will take care of it for them, right? So actually, no real loss or what lah, because the director is still a competent advisor, right? So no real loss to the client. Now, so the reason why I say it's really up to the advisor is because some people, right, I know some people who come in, right, because they got retrenched, they are 51, 52, they just want to work for the next 3-4 years, Right.
They don't really want to, So I guess I can't really say, hey, why you don't want to stay for longer? I mean, who am I to say that, right? I'm in no position to say such things. If it's their goal, then and if they make a conscious decision, then I think it's okay if they want to, like leave and like do nothing really. But if you're talking about people who are trying to stay for the long run, then it has to be a constant state of improvement.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And where do you see yourself like in the next maybe few years? Like what's your goals? Or to keep improving or something?
Wow, chim. Okay, a lot to talk about. But to summarize it, at least in terms of my business, right? What we aim to do, right? We're actually aiming to change the entire paradigm of financial advisory. Okay, long gone are the days where you see people standing at MRT. Right, standing there in the roadshow. Anyway, with COVID also you can't really do something, right? Or going door to door, right? Knocking and meeting multiple strangers, right? We are entering this new wave of advisory where we look towards US for a lot of direction because US financial system and the markets is much more matured than the Singapore market, right? The people there, right, the citizens there, they're not having the Asian mindset, right, where they we want to usually hoard money or we keep cash under the mattress, right? That's a more Asian boomer kind of mindset, right? Whereas the West, right, the Western mentality, they know from the start I have to start investing, right? So we look towards the US for a lot of direction, and financial advisors in US, right, as compared to in Singapore, right, we still have a lot of room to grow, right? MAS regulations have to get stricter and more. But I do feel that in the mid-term, right, maybe the next 7 years or maybe more, right, I do foresee financial advisory, right, or what we're working towards is to create an entire industry where this advisor is no longer just limited by things like, okay, because for example today, I will help my clients invest, right, I can only help them go into MAS regulated structured products. Right? I got friends who ask me about crypto. I got friends who ask me about stocks, like trading, this sort of thing, but I cannot say it's a financial advice because MAS would not allow that. right? MAS, and especially MAS catches a lot of people, right, with compliance, right? Because they are afraid, lah, right? And I guess it's legit, right? Because this entire part is still quite unregulated, right? Crypto and all this. But okay, personally, lah, because I like it and I do it myself, right? This does not constitute as financial advice, okay? But I really do hope that one day, right, financial advisors will transit into an entire new way of doing work, where we can help our clients execute trades. We can help our clients buy and sell securities over the counter, right? We can right, but of course that requires multiple different licenses, right? Maybe tying up with banks and all this, right? But now splitting the banking side and the FA side, right? This is split, like for example in OCBC, right? You got Great Eastern, right, and then you got the bank side. So it's like it's always split up into two, right? But I know some banks are exploring, right? The private banks are exploring sort of merging these two departments together, right? And I think that's like the long, right, in the future. That's where you go, right? This one person, right? That one company, you just need to go for all possible financial problems. You don't need to go and like find 20 people. Just go and find that one person that you trust, right? And the person is supposed to be competent enough, right, with the required licenses to actually settle everything. Yeah. So. But of course, before we can get there, there's a lot of work that has to be done. Yeah, but that's one of the main goals that we're working towards. Yeah,
it's quite interesting. Yeah, I think it's quite different. I think most people that I know that in this industry, they don't have such grand ideas. They just want to sell the products and stuff. It's just quite interesting. Okay, so now we'll just ask some general questions. Now, nothing really to do with like your industry, but so I think something that is more in line with this talk show also is what would you say to someone that wants to do something different or something that is a bit unconventional, like for example yourself, like starting work so early in relative sense, like what would you say to them?
First thing I'll say is why do you want to do this? I think starting with why is very powerful, right? Simon Sinek, start with why. So if this person really can share with me why, and so passionately and in a logical reasoning as well, then I really do encourage this person to just go and do it, right? Because I think the joy, if you ask any business owner, right, those who have been here for about 20, 30 years, right, have a decent size SME or whatever, I think they will all agree that the most enjoyable part of this entire process is the doing it, is the start, where you go through all the difficulties. That's the yes, in the moment it seems challenging and damn sian, but on hindsight, it looks it's more gratifying. The more challenges you go through, actually is, in fact, it makes your success more, the sense of fulfillment even better, right? The more challenges that you go through. So I'll just encourage the person to just go and do it, right? Follow your heart, build a team, right? If you want to do things, you want to do big things, you have to do it together with people, right? It's very tough to do everything yourself, especially if you're trying to manage, operations to marketing to sales to training to recruitment to everything, right? So find people who are in line with your vision, right? With this worldview or this thing that you're trying to create. Don't just get into a partnership, right? Just because it's a friend. Okay, please don't. Don't do it just because it's a friend, right? There are friends who can, might not be good business partners, right? Just because their work ethic, right? Or but we can still hang out as friends, nothing personal. It's just business wise, right? Maybe this person is not as forward thinking, or they can't see the big picture, or they don't really subscribe. That's not in line, they don't really want to scale the business as much as what you want to do it yourself. So end up there's going to be conflict, and then when there's conflict, now you're going to put in a very weird dilemma, because hey, it's your friend, you're going to argue with your friend, but this is business, right? You have changed, you come to business. So easiest is find business partners, right, who are similar to, the same as you, right? Who can think the same as you, right? Who has the same dream as you, and they are trying to change the world in that same particular field, right? Assemble a team, right? Each of you guys should have your own unique skill set, right, that you can bring to the table, right? It's not just about everyone can be good at sales, then all come together, and who do operations, who do the HR, all this sort of stuff. So having different people with different skills, right? Outsourcing, right, as much as you can, right? If it's not important, outsource, right? And massively network. That's the last one I would say, massively go and network, right? Because I'm going to be very upfront, okay. Those networking activities that some people do, right? As in, I don't know, like different people might have different experiences, right? Some people will see networking as like, walao, you just want to talk to people to do business with them, right? I say, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? If today, right, I'm going to be doing something that is going to be beneficial for you, right? I'm assuming your business is legitimate, right? It's helping someone's life, right? When you provide a good or service, right? So there's nothing to really be too ashamed of, right?
Yeah,
I mean, even if you toys, I mean, like, come on, like, you're still helping someone, you're serving a particular kind of market. So I think massively network, because in our generation, I feel that power is no longer vertically distributed, right? As compared to the past. Okay, I heard this from this economist, right? I watched it on a video on Vice. Right? He gave this. I think his name is Andrew Rifkin. He talked about this he gave a 1.5 hour speech, right? Talking about the new world order and the third industrial revolution. And he shared about this concept behind how power is no longer vertically distributed anymore, right? In our generation, we see it as laterally distributed, right? Horizontal plane, right? How powerful you are, well, that's dependent on, you look at Instagram, right? It's how many followers you have. There's no up or down. It's sideways now, right? And this network effect, right, can drastically increase a lot, right? In line with things such as even crypto. It's the same concept, right? Laterally distributed, decentralized finance, right? Or even things like AI, Internet of Things, right? The Internet of Things as well, right? You got laterally distributed communication devices from your aircon to your bed to your shower, right? All connected together. There's no up or down. It's just sideways, right? So massively go and network, right? Do not feel ashamed to meet new people, right? Don't paiseh. Again, now that's why start off is step one is why. Why are you even doing it? If your why is so strong, you won't paiseh one.
Yeah, makes sense. Because you see that higher reason, right? Okay. And another question I have is, so as a student, right, what will you advise other students who want to do this? Like, in terms of like, should they be focusing on the studies or should they be doing this? Or should they sacrifice one for another?
This referring to like that anything lah, the path less traveled lah. Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of flame for this. Okay, but that's me lah. Okay, so those who follow my social media, they know I'm like that one. Okay, I'm not really a very big fan or advocate, right, of a lot of how I say the education system, right? But I'm not gonna go too much into it lah, right? But I think the education system is good in terms of if you want to become an employee. Okay, I think it's good, right? Because it trains you to not make mistakes, right? They penalize you for having making mistakes, right? You share answers. Hey, why are you cheating, right? In fact, you are not really as incentivized. Okay, I know there are friends, right? Some of my friends in business school, right? They're wonderful. They share notes, right? They talk to one another. They don't really hide things and secrets. But we all know of that snake, right? Or the politics, right? And I think it's normal, even when you go into the corporate world, right? So I guess school is good insofar as if you are training to become an employee, right? To prepare yourself for a culture that is potentially like this. Okay, I'm not saying every single corporate culture is like that, right? I'm going to be clear first, right? I have met some companies that have a very wonderful environment, right? Usually startups, okay. But we're talking about more larger MNCs when you're like a small cog in the entire machine. That is kind of like the idea lah, where you need to climb the ladder, hierarchical and all this. So if that is what you want, right? No right, no wrong. If that's what you want, then stay in school. Yeah. Right, but if you want a life that is different, right? If you want to break out of the system, right, and you want to then do it lah, right? But be very clear, right, that it comes at its own cost, right? It's not just if not everyone will do it, right? Everyone will just break out the system, right? And in fact, okay, I'm not saying that the education system is bad. I just don't really like it, but it's not bad, right? It's like salads. Some people just love salads, but I just don't really like salad, right? I'm not saying that salads are bad, right? I just don't like it. Okay, the school system is good because it trains you to be a perfect employee, right? And any nation, right? We need an employable nation, right? We have different sectors of the economy, and you need employees working in the particular sectors to bring our nation towards further development and progress. So if that's what you want to contribute towards, right? Go ahead lah, right? But if you want to do something larger and in potential, right? Also maybe lead a better life financially, right? You don't have to be worried about finances as much. Be able to retire yourself. Okay, not say retire, be financially free earlier, right? Having more time, right? Okay lah, maybe this path might be better for you. But I think the most important thing is to make the decision. Which one? I think the toughest part, just speaking from in my own industry, I know a lot of student advisors who come into this line and they try to do half, right? They try to like I want to still somehow like have this safety net kind of thing, right? But versus going all out, because it was scary, Actually, this reminds me of a story. I think you heard of it before, right? The ship burning one, right? Where they went to invade, right? I forget who was it, Napoleon. Yeah, Napoleon. I think it's Napoleon. Right? They went to invade. I can't remember which country. My history is pretty bad, right? When they sailed across, right? Then Napoleon was like, okay, burn all our ships. So there's no way, there's no turning back. We either take over the entire land, right, and we destroy, and we conquer, or we get conquered. Right? There's no turning back. So you're burning your bridges, right? There's no safety net. So you're kind of like forced into a corner where you have to make it work. Right? But those people with still got this safety net there, right? End up this real one, right? This real pursuing that the aspiration that you're trying to pursue, you may not go all out. You won't be you might not be your best. So I think having that distinguishing factor early. Now then people will ask me, what if this thing fails? Well, there are no safety net, right? Okay. Again, it doesn't really matter if this thing fails or not, because you have already made a distinction. Do you want to be an employee or not employee? I think that's the most important one. Employee, not employee. Okay, because even if the not employee side fails, right, be it a cafe, be it or whatever, even if it fails, you also don't want to work for someone. Okay, so again, not saying working for someone is bad. It's just if that's just what you want, right? If you don't want, then even if that aspiration fails, just go and do another thing, just go and start another thing, right? I mean, again, that's why network massively. You never know when opportunities walk past you, right? So that's what I would say.
Okay, actually I think that's the last question. So I'd like to thank our guest Yixun for coming down.
Thank you.
Saturday morning.
Thanks for inviting me down.
Okay, so thanks guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the talk show. I hope you learned a bit from our guests. And if you like this talk show, please give us a like and a subscribe to see more interviews like this. And also remember to comment in the section below if you have any questions for our guests, or also for any future talk shows. And if you have any particular guest that you'd like to bring on board, or any particular team or industry that you would like us to cover, do put them in the comment section as well. So if not, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.